Firmware is a type of software that controls hardware. It's responsible for managing switch operations and communicating with other equipment. Essentially, it runs the show. So when the firmware fails, you should get it fixed as quickly as possible. The easiest method for this is to perform a firmware upgrade using the Web User Interface, or UI. The link for a video on this process is in the description. If the existing image got corrupted and the switch web UI is not accessible, or the switch is stuck in a boot loop, an override on the device's firmware may be what's needed instead. In this episode of Cisco Tech Talk, I'll show you how to flash the firmware on a CBS Series switch to solve reboot loop issues or when the firmware fails. Next. Before you begin, download the TerraTerm application, a free terminal emulator that can be used with the Windows operating system. Use the console cable that came with your switch to connect your computer to the switch. Verify the COM port number that is associated with the console cable. To do this, open the Device Manager and look under Ports. In this example, you can see it is COM number 1. You may not have a COM 1 option. If this is your situation, look under the USB to serial converter and use the respective COM port number. You can verify this from the Device Manager option in the Windows system. Open TerraTerm. Go to Setup and select the serial port. I will select COM 1. I'll change the speed to 1-1-5-200. This will also work if the console port baud rate is selected as auto detection on the switch. Once you've made your selection, click Apply. Access the switch console via TerraTerm. Press Enter once or twice on the keyboard to detect the speed and get the username prompt. If the privileged exec mode of the switch is accessible, you can check the firmware version that is running with the command Show Version. You can check the switch model number with the command Show System. Download the appropriate switch firmware from software.cisco.com. In this example, I'm using a Cisco Business 350 series switch and downloading firmware version 3.3.0.16. It's important to note that some firmware versions may not be compatible with this process. If you have an issue with a specific version, you may want to try a different one. When you're ready, enter the command reload for a reboot. Type Y for yes 2 times to confirm the reboot. You may reboot the switch manually as well. Interrupt the boot sequence by pressing X on the keyboard. You have to be fast when performing this process, or it could result in a timeout. If this happens, you need to reboot the device again. After a successful boot interruption, you should see a prompt of Please X modem image file. Go to File, Transfer, X modem, and then Send. Now select the firmware image and click Open. A progress bar will pop up to show the status. Once it's complete, the switch will have the new firmware image applied, and you will see the new firmware version. Save the new configuration and you're all set. A firmware flash has been done on your CBS switch. Now the switch can get back to being an efficient facilitator, and you can get back to business. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.